Greetings. I am Salman Ahmad of Sadr Khan Foundation. On behalf of the Sadr Khan Foundation team, I would like to thank Allianz Francaise, its management, and its team for hosting this event. I am thankful for this opportunity to speak about Sadr Khan. I will divide my presentation in three different sections. First, facts about Sadr Khan most people are not aware of. Sadr Khan's persona, a giant, a towering figure, monumental presence, larger than life visionary, once in a century artist, and an era defining master. Two, Sadr Khan's philosophy, which he imbued in his work. He was not a picture maker, not a decorative artist. He was a thinker, a philosopher. And three, I will say a few words about the book, The Stranger. To quote from my books, art and literature are the identity of a nation. By all measures, Sadr Khan was the finest ambassador of nation's identity. He was a polymath, a confluence of Picasso, Michelangelo, poet Omar Khayyam, and calligrapher Yaqut. Likes of him are not born for centuries. His work was unique like none other, innovative, and by all measures difficult to duplicate. Now consider this. Even before the advent of social media and computers, Sadr Khan's unique talent was recognized and acknowledged on all 5 continents. Not many Pakistanis can make this claim. Government of Pakistan established 3 institutions in Sadr Khan's name in Karachi, Lahore and Islamabad. Not many Pakistanis, private citizens, can make this claim. Sadr Khan was bestowed with 4 civilian awards in the field of arts, namely Nishan-e-Imtiyaz, Sitare-e-Imtiyaz, Tamgha-e-Imtiyaz and Pride of Performance by the government of Pakistan. No Pakistani can make this claim. Sadr Khan was regarded in such high esteem that his documentary made by Ministry of Cultural Affairs used to be shown regularly on Pakistan National Days at Pakistan Foreign Missions, because that was the best Pakistan had to offer to the world. No Pakistani can make this claim. Sadr Khan is featured on Pakistani currency note issued by State Bank of Pakistan. What an honor. No Pakistani can make this claim. Sadr Khan's calligraphy was given as gift exchange by Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto to Prime Minister Indira Gandhi at Shimla Peace Conference after the 1971 war between the two nations. That was the best Pakistan had to offer. No Pakistani artist can make such a claim. Sadr Khan's book was given as gift exchange by President Pervez Musharraf to President George Bush at White House in 2005. The best Pakistan had to offer. Hardly any Pakistani can make such a claim. Sadr Khan's book was given as gift exchange by President Asif Ali Zardari when he visited the President of Sri Lanka. The best Pakistan had to offer. No Pakistani can make this claim. It is common knowledge that with a few exceptions of large commissioned artworks such as the gigantic mural measuring 170 by 20 feet, let me repeat, 170 by 20 feet at the Mangla Dam titled The Saga of Labor, which was financed by the World Bank, Sadr Khan never sold his art. He gave them away to individuals and institutions with no strings attached. The saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Sadr Khan's artworks were worth lot more than 1,000 words. In monetary terms, a conservative estimate of his artworks is valued at more than $1 billion with a B. But he died penniless by his own choice. It will not be an exaggeration to say that he gave more to the nation than any other man or woman. French newspaper Le Figaro stated, Sadr Khan's multiplicity is reminiscent of Picasso. I try to read between the lines and I can talk for hours about this one sentence, but I'll spare you the trouble. New York Times, Washington Post, and Christian Science Monitor described him in 1963 as Pride of Pakistan. The UAE News in October 26, 1974 edition wrote, his exhibition in Abu Dhabi has been seen by many people, and most of the visitors who inspected his works wanted to buy them. But the exhibits are not for sale, he told them. Al-Ahram of Egypt on November 2, 1974 wrote, his paintings are characterized by a humanitarian touch, which abhors destruction and death and calls for life. The breathtaking beauty and elegance of the Arabic alphabet in its permutations and combinations of the horizontal, the vertical, and the cantilever enthralled Egyptians. Tehran Journal on January 2, 1976 wrote, however, none of the works on display are for sale, and many prospective buyers have been disappointed by this aspect of his exhibition. If we take even a brief look at Sadr Khan's palette, it speaks volumes of his monumental talent, and it touches our soul. Sadr Khan's compositions, whether simple or complex, perform magically with the complexity of a well-orchestrated symphony. They represent poetry of color, harmony of rhythm, and the power of tempest. Sadr Khan's paintings, classified as modern art, mirror his own words when he said, people ask why I don't paint flowers, butterflies, and landscapes. I tell them that I speak the truth and I am after reality. I'm not inspired by someone posing against a backdrop of roses in a vase or pink curtains. What inspires me is a person who has gone hungry for hours and is struggling for survival. The expression that lights his face at the end of the day when he has finally found some scraps, that is what touches me. I am a painter of the expression of reality." Unquote. Sadr Khan believed that renouncing the seduction and eschewing the allurement of material entrapments can help levitate mankind to an exalted state. His wide array of paintings constitutes a singularly unique achievement by an artist at the highest echelon of artistic work. The sumptuous collection of his artworks represents Sadr Khan's perception, in which he draws inspiration from the ancient wisdom of Sufi traditions, which for centuries have represented some of mankind's purest instincts. As archetypal expressions of mystic visions, his imagery transcends our latent susceptibilities. They hold a beacon to the path of enlightenment, guide through the gateway of spiritual freedom, and provide a conduit to transpersonal truth. As we gaze at the extraordinary oeuvre, we are transported to the core of our subliminal state. And this visual journey through a blissful odyssey is an unadulterated experience of heightened awareness. As our senses process these mystic images and nurture our experiences for a meaningful life. Sadr Khan's portfolio is wide and deep and is spanned over various genres. To name a few, portraiture. He only did portraits for family and friends. Impressionism, realism, surrealism, modernism, symbolism. These are some of the genres, some of the imagery you will find in his works. A special word is warranted for his murals, because Sadr Khan is the only muralist Pakistan has produced. If Sadr Khan had painted only murals, still he would have been considered the greatest artist of the country. Mural art is considered the most demanding art form because it requires imagination, skill, stamina, and resources. It is for this reason that there have not been many mural artists who existed. Michelangelo and Diego Rivera are the most prominent names in this realm. Now imagine this. The number and surface area of Sadaken's murals is larger than that of Michelangelo and Diego Rivera combined. We can say that Sadakan answers the question, what is the relationship between the arts and life? This is a question that scholars seek to answer relentlessly. This relationship is the basic human instinct to achieve harmony, balance, and rhythm through universal communication. Man's communication with each other and with the environment lies in the core of all endeavors in arts and literature, and all artistic endeavors are a reflection of the truth about life. If we postulate that life has a purpose, which is to perpetually seek knowledge, development of self, and paving the path of creative pursuits in the service of mankind, then all arts and literature must serve this goal in one way or another. Therefore, we can conclude that art and life cannot be divorced from each other. Ladies and gentlemen, today's event marks the launch of a book dedicated to Sadaken's lithographs he made in 1964 in Paris, illustrating Albert Camus' seminal novel, The Stranger, a project that stands as one of the highest artistic recognitions ever conferred upon a South Asian artist in the heart of Europe. The book is available on site for your perusal, and of course the reproductions of the lithographs are on display. This was an extraordinary undertaking. It was in fact a moment when the philosophical pulse of French existentialism met the mystical spirit of the East. It is my understanding that since Albert Camus had died in 1960 in an automobile accident, in the year 1966, the Automobile Club of France wanted to pay tribute and undertook the publication of a special edition with illustrations, The Stranger. It is the most widely read French novel and translated into more than 60 languages. The novel explores themes of absurdism, alienation, and existentialism, probing the disquieting truth of man's solitude in an indifferent universe. To complement this complex narrative, the publisher envisioned an illustrated edition as a pictorial interpretation through visual philosophy. A jury of eminent French art critics and publishers was assembled to select an artist worthy of translating Camus's existential world into the language of visual interpretation. It was a formidable panel, the guardians of modern art's aesthetic values. Among the artists considered were several established Europeans. And yet from this impressive pool emerged a name that no one in that circle had anticipated. Sadakan, a natural-born painter from Pakistan, who was living during that period in Paris and whose creative fire was igniting galleries across Europe. Moreover, to his credit, he had also been awarded prestigious Biennale de Paris for his painting The Last Supper. Now, we can ask the question, how did this man who did not speak, read, or write French impress a jury of France's most discerning critics and win the coveted commission to illustrate The Stranger? The answer lies in Sadaken's visual intellect. His intuitive grasp of universal human anguish and his innate understanding of the metaphysical struggle that defines existence itself. Sadakan may not have read Camus's novel in the original French, but he understood the existential burden that The Stranger embodies, the loneliness of the individual confronted with an absurd and indifferent world. That same loneliness, the same alienation, is at the core of Sadakan's own art. It is this shared human truth, not linguistic comprehension, that made Sadakan the perfect interpreter of The Stranger. In the end, I would like to thank you again for giving me this opportunity to speak about Sadat Khan.